Can I get a super berry energised smoothie, please?
We're all being told to look after our gut.
Thank you.
But almost half of us now suffer from digestive problems, causing a third of all sick leave. It's affecting the health and wealth of the nation.
Gut problems cost British businesses over £3 billion in sick days every year.
Searches for gut health have tripled in the past 3 years. But all too often, we suffer in silence. I think it's time to bring it out into the open.
So I want to investigate why so many of us are suffering with the embarrassment of flatulence, bloating, heartburn, and that dreaded diarrhoea.
With the help of 6 brave volunteers, I'll be finding out what we can do to boost our gut health.
So this is the most intrusive thing I've ever had done in my bottom.
And putting some of the most popular and radical diets and treatments to the test.
Lovely chicken feet.
And they're even swallowing revolutionary cameras to bring you the inside story on gut health. Our guts are in a worse state than ever, and yet hundreds of recent research studies have linked them to almost every aspect of our physical and mental health.
I want to get the inside scoop on the role our digestive system plays on our overall health, and to find out why almost half of us are having tummy troubles.
So what is the medical opinion on this latest health obsession? To begin my journey deep into the gut, I'm off to meet Dr. Anthony Hobson. He's a gastrointestinal specialist. With so many of us suffering from some kind of digestive issue, the burden on the NHS is huge. Dealing with constipation alone costs £150 million a year.
Anthony, gut health is having a massive effect on our society. It really impacts the NHS. It's got people calling in, having sick days, and also just people feeling generally uncomfortable with their day-to-day living.
That's right. If your gut's not working, you just feel horrible. So that could be whether you feel chest pain or heartburn, whether you feel very bloated, whether you feel nauseous. You know, if you've got an upset tummy every time you eat and you've got to plan your life by where toilets are, that drastically affects your quality of life. And IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, for instance, is the 3rd biggest cause for people taking days off work. So if you can understand why people are getting the gut symptoms and then change their gut diets to improve their gut health, then it not only has a fantastic effect on the person and their quality of life, but it's also a great economic benefit. It reduces the burden on the healthcare system and reduces work absenteeism.
So why are our guts in such a poor state? I've recruited 6 volunteers to help me shed some light. They're all regular sufferers of some of the most common gut problems.
Very much a mystery what's going on inside my stomach.
It'd be good to get something to kind of sort it out because I'm getting really embarrassed by it all the time.
Hi.
They'll all be trying different ways to improve their symptoms. Dr. Megan Rossi is a registered dietitian with a PhD in gut health. She'll be giving us an independent assessment of the various methods on trial.
Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
Nervous.
Excited. Talk to me a little bit about your guts. How do you feel that your gut affects you?
I spend most of my life looking pregnant because I'm so bloated all the time.
Okay.
And it's embarrassing.
Told that I suffer from wind in bed.
Right.
So I'm not aware of that, but someone else is.
Does it wake you up, Sophia?
Yeah, it's kind of pungent.
What about your gut then? Have you been having any issues?
I struggle with eating regularly, almost scared to eat certain foods because of the reaction on my gut.
Very debilitating, can't it be?
Yeah.
I've got like the opposite. I love food. I love food.
Yeah.
I love junk food, love crisps, love food. I'm just a foodie. But it does have an impact on me. Bloating, flatulence, you know, all that.
Selena.
Hi.
Talk to me. Tell me all about your gut. We're all friends now.
My biggest issue is bloating. I'm single, so when it comes to a point of somebody saying, should we go out for food? If I'm going to go out on a nice day, I don't want to look bloated. So yeah, it impacts massively on my lifestyle at the minute.
Yeah.
All our volunteers have sought out cures themselves, but with so many options out there, it's hard to know where to start.
Hi, I'm here for my appointment.
Each of our volunteers will be testing out a different gut health programme.
Just slip your arm through here for me.
Before trying any regime, it's important to undergo a thorough medical.
That's it, that's all the thing.
We're testing their blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, BMI and their poo.
So this will record all the images that are taken throughout the day.
To help us assess the state of their digestive system, they've even agreed to swallow a camera.
Lots of water.
Under careful medical supervision. The capsule camera captures footage as it travels through the 9-metre gastrointestinal tract.
This is crazy.
Oh, look at it.
Giving us a complete picture of the inner workings of each of our volunteers. Our first volunteer is 38-year-old father of 2, Kevin from Liverpool. A bank employee and former rugby league player, he's fairly fit and healthy, apart from his indigestion. His gut cam didn't show up anything medically wrong, but Kevin suffers regular discomfort in the form of heartburn and bloating.
I'll get quite a bit of indigestion to the point where sometimes I have been lay on the floor drinking Gaviscon. It's been that bad. Can I have 2 Zinger burgers, a chips and nuggets, please?
Kevin is a self-confessed junk food junkie and overeater.
When I do eat my evening meal, I probably have what some people would think is a 2-person portion.
Our medical tests show that Kevin has slightly high cholesterol. He wants to lower this, as well as beating the heartburn.
I eat quickly as well, and I definitely don't get my 5 a day.
We've paired Kevin with a gut makeover plan. It involves broadening your diet to include up to 30 different kinds of fruit and veg.
One of the principles I really like about this diet is it's really boosting the amount of plant-based types of foods you're having. And the more diversity in terms of the plants you're eating, the more diverse range of bacteria you're feeding. And what we see is that the diversity of bacteria in your gut is linked with things like lowering your risk of heart disease.
Dairy, wheat, alcohol and sugar aren't necessarily bad for the gut, but they can be for some people. The first 2 weeks of this plan are all about repair. So those items are off the menu and in their place, fruit and vegetables.
I'm not quite sure what this is. My wife does all the shopping in our house, so I'm a little bit clueless at the moment.
The focus is on eating at least 5 portions of different kinds of vegetables every day.
This really shows how little vegetable I do eat.
Kevin must also have a portion of quality protein at every meal. Eggs are allowed, today mixed with tuna.
I don't often sniff cat food, but I imagine that it smells just like this.
The diet also stipulates that each mouthful of food should be chewed at least 20 times. This stimulates saliva, which contains digestive enzymes, helping reduce indigestion and heartburn.
Actually quite nice. I think it's something I can definitely start to introduce into my diet.
A bigger challenge is cutting out caffeine and sugar.
As you can see, the boys took it into some chocolate waffles, whereas I'm on my peppermint tea. So more than a little bit envious right now watching him eat this.
And the drastic change in his habits is already having an impact.
I had a dull headache all day, found it really hard to focus at work. Definite caffeine and sugar withdrawals.
With over 3 weeks to go, will Kevin stick to his guns?
I can't even express how badly it smells to me right now, but I'm going to give it a go.
And as the other volunteers get underway with their treatments,
I can't have more of that tomorrow.
we discover the road to gut health isn't always easy.
I have a confession to make. I got very drunk.
But how big a sacrifice are they prepared to make?
No. Oh my God.
Almost half of the population regularly experience symptoms of poor gut health. But the majority of sufferers keep it to themselves. And what happens behind the locked doors of our loos too often stays a secret. We don't like to talk about our bathroom habits, not even to our GP, which might explain why hospital admissions as a result of constipation have cost the NHS millions. One sufferer willing to speak up about her bowel habits is 47-year-old Ranjna.
I go between going to the toilet regularly to it either rushing out or not coming out at all.
A busy mum of 5 Ranjana relies on convenience foods and 12 coffees a day to keep her going.
I feel like I don't have the time to sit down and eat. My life revolves around coffee. Like, coffee will help me poop. Coffee will help me relax. Coffee's like my go-to. It's my thing.
Ranjana, she suffers with all sorts of toilet problems. One minute she's blocked up, the next minute she's running off to the loo.
That's classically called an alternating bowel habit. And this most typically is caused by diet and lifestyle issues.
Funny you should say that, because she drinks a lot of coffee.
So caffeine within coffee stimulates the nerves within the gut. And in small amounts, that's fine. If you have too much coffee, then the nerves can become overstimulated and over-irritated, so it can just make the bowel a bit more erratic.
Ranjana will be trying a treatment that aims to purify her gut. This 21-day kit costs around £200 and includes nutritional supplements they claim will help get the gut microbes into balance and improve digestion.
I'm not going to personally recommend these products, but this is popular and a lot of people are doing it, so I think it's really important that we put it to the test. However, alongside these products, they do recommend having a no-processed diet, so a diet that's quite high in dietary fibre, and also cutting back on the caffeine.
What about my coffee?
You will not be allowed a coffee.
No. Oh my God. It's going to be difficult for me because I have to change my routine, but I'm trying to look at it in a positive way. So I'm thinking, okay, change is good.
Ranjana's test results showed she has raised blood sugar, putting her at a risk of diabetes. She's hoping to reduce that risk as the 21-day programme has a ban on sugar.
At work, we have these yummy snacks, and I actually have melon fingers and a house salad.
She's off to a good start, but by day 2, her caffeine withdrawal is kicking in.
I'm feeling pretty right now. I've not had coffee, and I've got a banging headache. I'm hoping this is going to ease off soon. I'm not too hungry or anything, but I am really missing my coffee.
Ranjana's not alone in her love for coffee. In the UK, our consumption is going through the roof. The recommended maximum daily intake of caffeine is 400 milligrams. Depending on the strength of the coffee, that's between 2 to 4 cups a day. But Ranjana was on 12 cups a day, each containing a spoonful of sugar. Living without that is also proving a challenge.
It does look good.
Tastes good as well. Literally.
Not loud.
It's melting down your tongue.
Shut up.
Now, I think it's important to realise there's kind of 2 main groups of sugar. We've got the added sugar, which is the stuff that's in things like biscuits and ice creams, and then we've got the natural sugars, which are packaged within things like dairy and fruit. Now, it's the added sugars that have been linked with things like high risk of diabetes. So it's those ones who are having too much of them, actually, it's probably not going to be good for us. The natural sugars, I certainly wouldn't be restricting them in people's diets. And the thing with sugar is that if people go really cold turkey and cut them out of their diet, they often feel quite grumpy. And why that is that sweet food actually stimulates our reward system within our brain. So if we're cutting them out completely, grumpiness is one of the side effects.
6 days in, and Ranjana is replacing 2 meals a day with pea protein shakes.
It looks a bit like, I don't know, sand. And this looks a bit dodgy. Now it looks like I'm putting some cement in there as well. I've got a shake.
The shakes contain soluble fibre to help regulate bowel movements.
I've got to make it fun. It just looks rank, to be honest.
It's great to see Ranjana including more dietary fibre in her diet. However, I would like to see it coming from a more diverse range of foods, not just the supplements, because fibre is, you know, my favourite nutrient. It's so, so important because it feeds our good microbes, which then in turn been linked with things like better mental health, heart health, etc. So the benefits of fibre are far-reaching.
That tastes all right, actually.
Earlier, we met Kevin, who admitted to neglecting his gut by not just overeating, but eating all the wrong things.
Definitely don't get my 5 a day.
His diet was fairly typical. The average Brit consumes up to 300 calories a day more than we should, and yet only 31% of us are getting our 5 a day.
Do you reckon I've got room for one more?
No.
2 weeks into the gut makeover plan, Kevin can start the second stage.
Today I'm going to be trying something new. This is fermented soybean.
Adding fermented foods to his diet.
This is Bavarian sauerkraut. It's like a fermented cabbage for those who've never tried it. I can't even express how badly it smells to me right now, but I'm going to give it a go.
The plan claims fermented foods will help repopulate his gut with good bacteria.
This is Germany's #1 sauerkraut. Germany can keep that for me.
Kevin's hoping the diet will put an end to his heartburn. He's one of 3 million of us suffering from this widespread complaint.
What is heartburn and why does it affect so many people?
Well, stomach acid is really nasty stuff. It's very strong. If you put stomach acid on wood, it will dissolve it over time. And the stomach is designed to keep it all in there. But if some of that acid starts to creep up into the food pipe, then that starts to cause burning sensations. It's usually because you're putting too much into the stomach or too much of the wrong food into the stomach. That puts pressure on the stomach. That makes the valve at the top of the stomach open, and that allows stomach contents to come back.
So Kevin's diet, it contains a lot of carbs. He eats massive portions. He also confessed that he eats very quickly. Are these things that could be causing his heartburn?
Absolutely. He's better to eat smaller portions more often than just to dump it all in one go. And if he modified what he ate, changed his behaviour slightly, then most of his heartburn symptoms should go away.
By week 3, Kevin is still sticking to the plan and even making his own version of Korean fermented vegetables or kimchi.
I was actually really surprised how easy it is to make. I don't want to dumb kimchi down and say it's just throwing it in a jar and leaving it for 4 days, but actually it's throwing it in a jar and leaving it for 4 days.
Kevin is already feeling the benefits of the plan.
Almost from day 1, the bloating's gone on this type of food, so I don't feel bloated. The truth is I don't actually feel hungry at any point, but I feel satisfied throughout the day.
Our next volunteer is a self-confessed junk food addict.
We've got some angel slices, we've got some crisps, we've got some chocolate peanuts.
38-year-old Andrina has a constant diet of unhealthy snacks.
We'd easily spend like £150, £160 on food, and a lot of it is rubbish.
And she's not alone. As a nation, we spend £13.5 billion on confectionery, and we're putting away 6 billion packets of crisps a year.
I can't imagine my life without eating this stuff.
The gut likes to have rest periods. So if you snack frequently, the gut never gets to go into its natural resting rhythm. And it's during that rest time, the gut has these big, strong clearance waves that clear all the rubbish out of your gut, allow it to heal and to regenerate, just gives it time to get ready for the next meal.
Andrina feels she's lost control of her gut.
I eat this stuff and it makes me feel sick. It makes me feel bloated. It makes me feel windy. It makes me feel like I need to go poo all the time. It's just horrible. I found that farts just come out. So I could be bending down or I could be like in any sort of compromising position and one will come out. So it's quite embarrassing. I'm starting to feel embarrassed by my own body.
Andrina's gut cam didn't show up any medical reasons for her tummy trouble, but she often has toilet issues, pooing just 3 times a week, and would love to be more regular.
So constipation, simply put, is that you're not pooing enough. Some people need to eat more fibre, and that helps keep the colon healthy, moves things through more rapidly. Some people might need to drink more water and just get more fluid in there to help with things.
We're sending Andrina to trial a 10-day Ayurvedic detox in Germany. It focuses on the connection between the gut and the brain.
There's been some really interesting studies that have shown that things like meditation and yoga can actually significantly improve gut symptoms.
I'm going to actually sort my gut problems out. I actually feel like I'm gonna cry.
So exciting, I can't wait.
Ayurveda is an ancient Indian medicine.
Wow, look at this.
Which uses meditation, yoga, massage and herbal remedies.
Our gut and our brain are constantly communicating. So every couple of seconds there's messages going both ways. In fact, there has been clinical trials to show that people who have gut symptoms, if they do things like mindfulness, it can really settle their gut symptoms like bloating, diarrhea, etc. Now also there's studies showing that yoga, particularly a gut-directed yoga flow, which can really help relax our gut muscles, can indeed help with people who suffer from things like bloating. In fact, I usually recommend to all my patients with irritable bowel syndrome to actually do 10 minutes of a gut-directed yoga flow every day at home. They don't need, any sort of expensive gym membership.
Miss Walton, hi. Please have a seat.
Andrina will be undergoing their Panchakarma cure that offers what it calls a deep detox and rejuvenation.
You hear? It's like a drum. There's a lot of air in the system.
First, she's assessed by an Ayurvedic practitioner.
It's also hard. Do you suffer also from constipation?
Sometimes, yeah.
She'll be put on a restricted diet to prepare her body for a complete purge at the end of her stay.
You are not going to get breakfast. I'm giving you lunch, soup, but no dessert.
So what I'm hearing is soups and that's it.
We are preparing to bring a transformation in your system. Please give us your belief and we are able to transform you.
The path to transformation begins with a daily glass of ghee.
Do you know what? When she brought it to me, I should have just went like that straight away and not think about it.
They believe this liquid fat will collect the toxins within the digestive system in preparation for the final purge.
I can't have more of that tomorrow.
Oh. Dinner is also a bit of a shock.
The portion size is very small, but I'm guessing this is a starter. Is it not? Oh my gosh. This is my dinner? No. Sometimes I hear it, but I don't register it.
Andrina has only one thing on her mind.
I'm thinking about prawns, I'm thinking about chicken, I'm thinking about rice. Like, I am struggling. I need food.
Yoga is on the menu. As is Andrina's favourite part of the detox, the regular massages.
I thought it was going to be a boot camp.
After a few days, Andrina's already noticing an effect.
Skin is proper glowing. It's day 5 and I feel great.
But as her stay comes to an end, her treatment comes to a head in what the clinic calls Elimination Day. A dose of castor oil laxative will kickstart her full gut cleanse.
This is the day I've been dreading the most. The bitter ghee that I've been drinking every morning, that's gathering up all the toxins and all the fat and all the stuff from inside my body. And what the castor oil is going to do today is just roar it all out.
Opinion is divided about whether this kind of cleanse is good for your gut, but it's having an effect on Andrina.
Get me out of here. I really can't do any more pooing today.
Coming up,
This is the most intrusive thing I've ever had done.
our volunteers will stop at nothing to fix their troublesome guts.
Chicken feet. That's the nails.
And I get the lowdown on what's going on inside my insides.
You're a slight methane producer.
Thank you.
Feast your eyes on my yummy burger.
We've asked 6 volunteers to lay their guts on the line and road test some remedies to the most common digestive problems.
I have noticed that my stomach's flatter.
Gut health is more than a passing craze. It's having a huge impact on the economy.
So about half of us are walking around most of the time with gut issues. Conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, heartburn and reflux, and that costs the British economy about £3 billion a year.
It's time for us to learn how to look after our guts.
Put the mouth around the mouthpiece and just blow out to the end of your breath.
Now, I'm putting my body to the test.
Now I'm going to capture the last part of your breath. Perfect.
40% of us regularly suffer from bloating. This machine uses a breath sample to measure the gases in my gut to see how well it's processing food.
What this machine is going to tell us is what kind of bacteria you've got in your bowel and what those bacteria have done to the food that you ate last night.
So last night I ate a lot of food that I know usually causes me to bloat. So black beans, chickpeas, pasta, cheese. I kind of indulged a little bit.
Yeah.
Juice, fruit. I've had it all. How might that affect
all
me?
of the things that we would normally ask people to avoid bloating.
So what does the machine make of my big blowout?
What the values have shown here are that you're both producing both hydrogen and methane. So the hydrogen levels are pretty normal, so that's good. The methane levels, however, are a little bit higher than we'd expect. We'd expect that to be below 10 parts per million usually. Okay?
10?
Yeah, below 10, and you're at 21.
I'm at 21.
Yeah, you're a slight methane producer.
Thank you. So what can I do to beat the bloat?
If you feel bloated and constipated and horrible, then think about what you're eating and thinking about what that might be doing and try and change things. You may be able to do things quite easily that will make you feel better. So listen to what your bowel is telling you.
So what should I be aiming for then? To go once a day?
Most people would like to go once a day and feel that that's a regular pattern. If when you go to the toilet everything feels natural and the stool is well formed, then that's fine, that's natural for you. It's only when things become difficult, things become painful, things become uncomfortable, that then you might want to change things to try and improve it.
Okay. Bloating is much more common in women. And our next volunteer, 41-year-old Selena, is a long-time sufferer.
I do a bloated test every morning when I get up. I've got a mirror at the end of my bed. I walk past my bed and I lift my pyjama top and I think, oh yeah, it's not so bad this morning, but I do that every day.
She constantly goes online to see whether food she's planning to eat will make her bloat.
I have a love-hate relationship with food. I never know what to eat that's going to not impact me and make me bloated or make me feel poorly as well.
Bloating is the commonest symptom that we see, and it can be caused by many different things. Sometimes it's what you eat doesn't agree with you, it gets over-fermented, you produce too much gas, and that creates distension and bloating. Sometimes it's the way the nerves are working. Things are a little bit sensitive, so it's a complex phenomena that sometimes can be treated with diet and interventions, but sometimes might have other causes that are more complicated.
Like all our volunteers, Selena swallowed a capsule camera under medical supervision to scan her digestive system.
This is crazy.
Oh, look at it.
But it didn't show any medical reasons as to why she has such a reactive gut. We're sending Selena for colonic hydrotherapy.
The colonic is going to be very interesting. I've never had one and never fancied one, but you never say never.
After the colonic irrigation, Selena will be put on the clinic's restrictive 4-week diet plan. During this plan,
oh God,
there'll be no alcohol.
None whatsoever.
None. Oh, not even a drop.
Oh, wow.
Don't even look at it.
Oh God. The alcohol is going to be quite difficult, but you know it's a challenge, and I love a challenge, so I'm up for that.
Washing out the colon is claimed to reduce bloating and help with constipation.
This is the most intrusive thing I've ever had done in my bottom.
After an initial consultation to discuss her diet, Selena is booked in for the treatment.
You comfy?
Yes.
Yes.
A speculum is inserted into the colon and 2 pipes attached, one to introduce water and one for waste.
Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure on. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Did you feel that?
I did, yeah.
So that's the pressure that you will feel, and that's
Right.
pretty much most of what you will feel.
Okay.
Flushing out a lot of the stool within people can help relieve constipation, and in turn that can help with bloating induced by the constipation. However, I'm a bit skeptical or a little bit cautious of the long-term effects of that, given that when they flush out a lot of the microbes, they could be flushing out a lot of the good ones, and we don't necessarily know what sorts of microbes then go and repopulate the intestine.
Okay, so we've got a little bit of waste coming out, which is really good. I get excited about it. I think also people come for colonic and they think there's just constant poo coming out. But it just,
that's what I had in my head,
Yeah.
that you would just see all my poo.
Yeah.
And that's what I was like, oh my gosh, stressing. No. But it's not, is it? You're just flushing.
it's just and it's hydrating.
A probiotic implant will later be inserted to replace the microbes flushed out by the herb-infused water.
It's got fennel and licorice, which is really good for breaking down any gas. Okay, a lot of gas bubbles coming out. So there's no noise, there's no smell.
Yeah,
it's just bubbles. What coming out?
Yeah.
Oh, lots of gas there.
Yeah, so
oh, lots of bubbles. Woo.
It was nothing like I expected. It was actually really relaxing and I feel great.
The clinic have given Selina a list of foods to avoid.
Day 3 of no gluten, dairy-free, no alcohol regime. Today I thought I'd go all out and get a salad, quinoa, sweet potato, beetroot, chicken.
6 days in, and Selina's struggling with the no alcohol rule.
I desperately wanted a glass of wine, so I thought I need to distract myself. So here I am, 8 o'clock at night, lots of energy from all those vegetables I keep eating, and out for a walk.
A week into the programme, Selina has to fly to America for a work trip.
Just getting ready to go down to the ball where there's lots of food and lots of alcohol, so this is going to be a challenge.
I have a confession to make. I got very drunk last night. I don't even remember going to bed. I realise I miss alcohol a lot and I do enjoy a drink.
It goes to show big lifestyle changes don't happen overnight. Our final volunteers are Martin and Sophia. They're both suffering from different issues and are hoping for non-medical solutions.
Gut health is such a hot topic at the moment because people are realising that a lot of their health and well-being can be controlled by themselves. They don't have to rely on medication. There's a sense of empowerment about how looking after your gut can have a knock-on effect to really keep the rest of your body healthy.
59-year-old carpenter Martin's problem is flatulence.
Not nice.
Not hardly during the day, but it seems to be when I'm in bed.
And that's why I sleep with a bottle of perfume next to the bed now.
Martin has a lot of wind. What is going on there? What's causing that?
So wind or flatulence is caused by gases being produced by gut bacteria interacting with the food that you eat. So these are just a bit over-eager bugs in your tummy that are making too much gas, but you just learn what foods create that for you, and then you can gently change the ingredients, change what you do, just to suit your gut better. I think the problem for Martin is that he does have quite an unhealthy diet, and a lot of that food that he's putting into the system may be getting into the lower bowel and causing a lot of wind and gas and flatulence.
Martin's medical tests came back showing he had high blood pressure, but the gut cam didn't show up anything that could be causing excessive flatulence. So it could be lifestyle related. Martin's diet is heavy on the meat.
99% of my meals, probably 100% actually, include meat. I don't eat any fruit, which I appreciate is bad.
His partner is 50-year-old musician Sophia. They regularly cook separate meals.
If I was to try and shovel all that down me, I'd be in a terrible state.
Sophia suffers from a sensitive stomach, which has made her a nervous eater.
I'm afraid to eat some foods because straight after I can feel already that whatever I've eaten is having some reaction inside my gut.
She often resorts to avoiding food completely.
I tend not to eat breakfast, usually. I can go all day without eating. I survive on cups of tea with ginger and honey.
The couple have two very different problems, so we're setting meat-loving Martin and sensitive Sophia off on two very different regimes. So, Sophia.
Yeah?
You'll be going on a bone broth diet.
Oh, nice.
And Martin, you'll be going on a vegan diet.
No.
Fans of the vegan diet claim cutting out animal products will give you a healthier gut. And crucially for Martin, reduce the pungency of wind.
I'm not so happy about the diet that I've got to go on, but here we go.
It's for your health.
Yeah.
Going vegan is out of his comfort zone, but Martin throws himself into it.
What we've got tonight is a spicy lentil burger.
trying pretty much every vegan recipe he can get his hands on.
Red peppers with passata and chili flakes.
Homemade vegetable curry.
You can eat really well on a vegan diet and really poorly on a vegan diet. What we think is more important is just the diversity of different types of plant-based foods, getting them in your diet.
Not doing too bad, quite enjoying the challenge, cooking different things, different flavours, unlike my normal diet of 100% meat. Haven't really had that many cravings for meat.
Sophia's diet, however, requires a trip to the butcher's.
Hi there. I'm looking for some bones for a bone broth.
Sophia's tackling the bone broth diet.
Going on this diet, it's likely that you're going to improve some of your gut symptoms because it's actually taking out some of your gut stimulants. So in the short term, it could help with your symptoms, but I think long term it is really, really important to reintroduce things like the legumes and whole grains. They're really important to helping those good bacteria grow.
The broth is made by boiling animal bones in water, vinegar, spices and vegetables.
I'm sure I can get some more in there.
Opinion is divided as to the benefits of this regime.
Lovely chicken feet. Oh, they don't feel nice at all. Oh, just try not to look at them because they look like little hands. Can you hear that? That's the nails. Oh, that's enough to put you off meat.
Those who support the bone broth diet believe that the collagen and the gelatin can actually help strengthen the gut lining. However, that diet encourages cutting out things like whole grains and our legumes, so our beans and pulses. Those foods actually feed our good microbes, so cutting them out can have that negative consequence.
After hours of boiling, it's ready.
And just to prove I am actually drinking it, it is really nice. Just don't think about the chicken feet.
5 days a week, Sophia can have small meals of meat, fish or eggs with fruit and vegetables. But the other 2 days, it's broth for every meal.
Bone broth for breakfast. Yummy, yummy. This morning I started off with a cup of chicken bone broth, which was absolutely delicious. Drank that on the way down to the salon. And as it's lunchtime now, I'm just having my beef bone broth.
Coming up.
That's amazing. That is fantastic.
Has turning their habits upside down affected their guts and their overall health? What do you think about the gut symptoms you're
My
having?
gut symptoms have disappeared.
Digestive problems now affect almost half of the population.
Well, I spend most of my life looking pregnant because I'm so bloated all the time.
Okay. So we asked 6 volunteers suffering from some of the most common complaints.
I suffer from wind in bed.
To road test some of the treatments available.
Stop!
What about my coffee?
Now it's time to find out just how they've got on and to see if any of these regimes have made a difference.
Ranjana was not eating well and relying on coffee to get her through the day.
Coffee's like my go-to. It's my thing.
Her bowel habits were highly unpredictable.
I go between it either rushing out or not coming out at all.
Her medical showed up high blood sugar, putting her at risk of diabetes.
Shake, shake, shake.
She trialled the Synergy Purify Kit. The regime involves eating a diet of low-processed foods supplemented with their plant proteins and probiotic products. So, has it helped regulate her digestive system? Ranjana,
yes.
How are you feeling?
I just feel brighter, more awake. I'm sleeping better, not as stressed. And I'm not drinking coffee.
Okay.
At all.
And what about your gut symptoms?
I think I've lost quite a lot of the bloat.
Yeah.
And people don't think I'm pregnant anymore, which is great. And I just feel regular. It is like clockwork, twice a day. So, yeah.
And that really can help with mood, can't it?
It does make a difference. I didn't think it would. Not in 4 weeks, anyway.
We can see you've lost weight.
My blood sugar's normal.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I'm really happy about that.
Yeah.
Because I was worried about the diabetes because it runs in my family, and that's in 4 weeks.
Do you think you'll be sticking to this regime?
Yeah, 100%.
Our next volunteer, Kevin, had regular heartburn and bloating.
I'll get quite a bit of indigestion to the point where sometimes I have been lay on the floor drinking Gaviscon. It's been that bad.
He was trying out the gut makeover plan.
I'm not quite sure what this is.
Based on introducing a wide variety of fruit and vegetables, as well as fermented foods.
I can't even express how badly it smells to me right now, but I'm gonna give it a go.
It also involved cutting out wheat, dairy, alcohol, caffeine and sugar.
I had a dull headache all day, found it really hard to focus at work.
4 weeks on, time to find out how it went. Kevin, how have you been feeling?
Brilliant, yeah, it's been a really great experience.
Would you say most of your gut symptoms have gone?
Almost immediately. It's hard to remember anything but the headaches from the first 3 days, not having caffeine and not having sugar. But after that, I literally had no bloating at all.
Your cholesterol is now normal.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is fantastic. I was really worried about it. My father has high cholesterol and angina, so it's something I knew I needed to tackle now. So I'm over the moon about that, really.
Megan, would you say that these sort of results, what you expected?
I hear it all the time. Simple changes, increasing the amount of diversity from all your different plant-based food groups, getting in some fermented foods, you know, experimenting with different types really can be a game changer, not only for your gut symptoms, but things like your mental health and the health of things like your cholesterol and your heart disease risk.
I've really achieved lots of what I wanted, but it's not like I can close the book and say that this is done. This is something I want to continue to do. It feels more like a lifestyle change. Oh, absolutely delighted.
Volunteer Selena suffered from a complaint that 40% of us are familiar with: bloating.
I never know what to eat that's going to not impact me and make me bloated or make me feel poorly as well.
Her bowel habits range from diarrhea to constipation. We sent her for colonic hydrotherapy. This was followed by a restrictive 4-week diet plan, which she didn't always stick to.
I got very drunk last night.
And 2 weeks into the course, Selena hurt her back and ended up spending 11 days in hospital, so she wasn't able to complete the treatment. So obviously you had a short space of time.
I did.
Within your new regime, but did you notice any differences?
Yeah.
Any symptoms with your gut?
Massive difference. I went from going, you know, nearly 6-7 days without going to the toilet to going 2 and 3 times a day, but quite naturally. And before there was no running to the toilet urgently. It was just natural. And I felt really relieved that I'd gotten into that cycle, and I was able to just function normally and do everything that I did before without the bloating, which was great.
Our next couple of volunteers, Sophia and Martin, each brought a different gut complaint to the table. Martin was generating excessive flatulence.
99% of my meals, probably 100% actually, include meat.
He was put on a vegan diet. A world away from his normal routine of meaty meals, but he threw himself into trying out new recipes.
Spicy lentil burger, homemade vegetable curry.
Can you hear that? That's the nails.
The bone broth diet was road tested by Sophia to try and settle her sensitive stomach.
It was really nice. Just don't think about the chicken feet.
So have either of them noticed any improvement? How did you find it overall, Sophia?
I was getting into a routine and eating regularly. I was going to the toilet regularly, and I began to get more energy as well.
What do you think about the gut symptoms?
My gut symptoms have disappeared.
So, Sophia, I can reveal that you've also had an increase in your triglycerides.
That's essentially the fat circulating within your blood. So an increase in that is not ideal. In fact, it's linked with an increased risk of heart disease. We know that a diet high in saturated fat, which is a fat from a lot of animals like cows and chickens, can actually increase that triglyceride level. The good news is we can actually reverse that. So having fats from things like oily fish can actually decrease our triglycerides levels.
Okay. So, Martin, your blood pressure has reduced and also your cholesterol has gone down.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So it's really good.
Happy. Yeah.
Really shows the power of diet. That actually those things that you kind of thought, oh, maybe they're genetic, actually were in your control.
And what have you noticed with your symptoms, your gut symptoms?
It's not been as bad, actually. I have noticed that any flatulence is nowhere near as smelly as it was.
Our final volunteer is super snacker Andrina.
I can't imagine my life without eating this stuff.
Her discomfort from constipation and irregular bowel movements were having a big impact. Her treatment took place at an Ayurvedic retreat. 10 days of yoga, massage and ghee for breakfast, culminated in a final dramatic purge.
I really can't do any more pooing.
She's lost a stone in weight, but how has it affected her digestion and her eating habits?
What I found on this retreat is that I don't have to eat all the time, and just having a little bit of something good is sufficient.
Okay. The gut symptoms that you were having before, how are they now?
Much better. There used to be a lot of bloating, a lot of farting, flatulence, that sort of thing. I don't really have that anymore. I go to the toilet 2 hours after I eat, 3 hours. I could easily do a poo. Whereas before, I could go a whole week without going to the toilet. I feel great. I feel like my insides has got a new start.
I would recommend everyone to go on their own journey and their own search around the nutrition. It's been absolutely fantastic.
Now I know what impacts my stomach. I can stay away from those and stay healthy. But there will always be a place in my heart for a cheeky glass of Prosecco or two.
Well, if you think about all of the big diseases now, things like diabetes and obesity and blood pressure issues and high cholesterol, a lot of these are caused by poor gut health, then your whole life can be affected. If you look after your gut, it's like having a precious little pet inside. You want to feed it the right things, learn from the gut what it likes and what things that you can't digest very well, and that'll make the rest of your body feel great.
Our 6 volunteers have noticed that just by focusing on their gut, they've seen a massive impact on their overall well-being. Maybe it's time we all started to give a little bit more love and attention to what goes on in here.
A welcome return to a familiar favourite. 8 o'clock next Tuesday, why you should never get in the way of a hungry tapir, secret life of the zoo. Now, a first-time floater on More For in a minute, taking the plunge and risking it all, just 21 years old and building a floating home. Next here, the bedrock of the family shaken to its foundations 24 hours in A&E.